Hey everyone, welcome back. So I hope you guys had a great day. We've got a lot to talk about. There's a lot of news. Obviously, Bitcoin's kind of flat a little bit right now. Stocks have been obviously down, but we got some adoption news for Bitcoin. We also have Cleanspark news out there. We have Mawson news as well. And then we have Bitfarms reporting their production update for February. So we'll look at the numbers there. And Marathon provided their Q4 results. So we'll take a look at those as well, see how close it came to the numbers that they provided, and then we'll call it a day. So as always, you guys know this, not financial advice. You know the drill here. I'm invested in the following coins and stocks, just for full disclosure. So let's take a look at the miners here really quick, see how they did on the day. So Annie was up 3.59% today to $2.31. Not much movement, obviously, in the miners because Bitcoin hasn't been moving much today. So that's the reason for it. Argo was actually down 1.11% to 89 cents. Bitfarms was up actually 6.9% to $4.03. Cleanspark was up 0.75% to 1068. Cores was actually down, wow, almost 20%. It was down 18.59% on the day. It is up, obviously, after hours 4.14% to 780. And then Digihost was up 7.65% to 380. DMG was up 8.85% to 51 cents. Hive was up almost a percent, 0.98% to $2.06. It is up in the after hours another 2.43 to $2.11. Hut 8 was up, actually it was flat today, it looks like, but it is up in the after hours 1.15% to 6.18 cents. $6.18. And then Iris Energy was up 0.94% to $15.11, and it's up another 2.18% after hours to $15.44. Marathon was actually up 2.88% to $26.08. It's up a little bit more now in the after hours, just 0.61% to $26.24. I thought it would have done a little bit better, given the news that they provided their Q4 numbers, which were really good. And then Mawson was up, actually down. Wow, Mawson was also down 11.85% to $3.72. And Riot was actually up 1.57% to $17.50. So as you can kind of see, it's been kind of a flat day for the miners along with Bitcoin. So let's take a look at Bitcoin, see what it's doing right now, get into a little analysis on that. So here's Bitcoin on the daily chart. It is at 44,160 right now. We can see here that it has touched our resistance here at the 44,700 mark roughly, and came below it. It went above it, but came below it here on basically just previously, which was just a couple hours ago. The new day it transferred over just the last hour. So we touched it again there, came pretty close. Take a look at the 1 hour chart. And there we go. All right, so we can see that we touched it here, went above it, came back down, below it, touched it again, and it's playing up to be pretty hard resistance right now for us to get above that 44,700 and stay there. So this will be interesting to watch. RSI has obviously come down a little bit from the peak here that we were, so that's a good sign there, meaning we have a little bit more room to run up to possibly get above it, but we'll see. So going back to the daily chart, we can see here that we touched it, our resistance here a couple times earlier on February 8th, 9th, 10th, and then we went below it. We couldn't stay above it. We touched it and went above it a couple of times. We touched it again on the February 15th, and that was it. So we've touched it once, two, three, four, five, 6 times. The more times it touches it, the likelihood of it going above it does increase, obviously. So we'll have to see how this plays out. We may see it go above it tomorrow. But right now it's looking pretty good on Bitcoin, as what I'm seeing on the charts. Take a look at Ethereum as well. Ethereum right now is obviously down a little bit, but it was up on the day. So it was up for the day 1.87% to 2,977. And it is now toying with the 50-day moving average here, the green line that you can see here. And it's basically acting as almost as resistance on it. So we'll see how this plays out on the daily chart. On the 1 hour chart, we can see here that the RSI has come down from the highs here above 70, and it is at 52 right now, which is a good sign, meaning we do have room to run up as well. All right, so right now we don't know which direction Bitcoin's going to go into in Ethereum, but it looks like we may have some room to run up. So I think this is a good sign. All right, so not bad. Next, let's take a look at the first story that we have here. So Colorado to become the first U.S. state to accept cryptocurrency tax payments. We won't go too deep into it, but this is another story of adoption, right? We want adoption. We want places to be able to accept cryptocurrency. So Colorado is slated to become the first U.S. state to accept tax payments in cryptocurrency, and moving the governor's office has described as the next logical step on the path to digital statehood. Colorado's Governor Jared Polis, who announced the effort last week, explained in a tweet that the state would accept crypto payments converted into a dollar value, which would then be deposited into the state's treasury. So we do have this obviously happening, which is a pretty good sign for adoption, and we want that, so that's good. So this is pretty good news here. Then we have Cleanspark. Cleanspark has a little heartfelt story here. They're going to be paying their employees a little bit more, which I'm okay with. So today, Cleanspark announced that it has increased the starting salary of all existing entry-level positions in its mining operations to $19 per hour. I'm guessing these are the guys that unpack the miners, put the miners in place, people, basically helping hands. The hourly pay of the company is now more than that of similar positions at the biggest e-commerce or cloud computing companies in the United States. I find that, if you're looking at like warehouse jobs, things like that, okay, I could see that. As the company focuses on its Bitcoin mining operations, its commitment to society and governance remains as strong as ever. In addition to the most competitive employee benefits such as employer-paid health insurance and generous paid time off, the company now provides all existing and future employees with salaries on par with the highest in the same and comparable industries. So I'm okay with this. This is good. Obviously, we've seen inflation going up, so if they want to maintain a competitive edge a little bit, they got to obviously pay a little bit more, so I'm fine with that. Everything else is going up in price anyway, so they got to pay a little bit more. So I'm fine with that. That's fine. Next is Mawson. So Mawson Infrastructure Group, Inc. announces a new 100 megawatt hosting co-location agreement debt facility with Celsius Mining, LLC. So Mawson is pleased to announce it has signed a new hosting co-location agreement for approximately 100 megawatts, an associated debt facility with Celsius Mining, LLC. Mawson expects first mining hardware under this agreement to be deployed towards the end of Q1 2022. This brings total Luna Squares, LLC, hosting co-location agreements in place to approximately 102 megawatts. Mawson intends to deploy the mining hardware inside its modular data center technology and its facilities in the United States. In addition to debt facility, Mawson has issued Celsius Mining 3,850,000 warrants exercisable for $3,850,000 in common stock at $6.50. Mawson expects Bitcoin self-mining to be at 3.35 exahash by Q2 of 2022 and target of 5 exahash online by early Q1 2023, reiterated. So they obviously have a long ways to go, and they're working on getting the power that they need, obviously, to hook up all these miners to get to where they want to be. They still have a long ways to go. Let's take a look at where they're at right now. So they're saying that they're going to be at 3.3 by Q2. Right now, if we look at Mawson here, Mawson currently is at 1 exahash. So they obviously have a lot to install and get to, and they want to be at, what do they say? They're 5 exahash online by early Q1 of 2023. I have them currently at about 3 exahash future hash rate. So they obviously have to get not only the power installed, but also the miners as well. So they got a lot of work for them still ahead of them. So, but it's good news that they're at least working on the power side of it to get the miners in. So obviously you need power first, then you get the miners to be installed. Next, we have Bitfarms. So Bitfarms provided February 2022 production and mining operation updates. So let's take a look at the main details here. So mining production was 2.3 exahash online. We'll take a look at this sheet that I have for them. So this basically represents that they pretty much stayed flat in February. From January, they didn't improve their hash rate at all. They didn't get any miners in, and we'll see what some of the reasons are for that. So 298 new BTC mined during February 2022, up 67% from February of 2021. That is actually a little bit of a decrease from January. 10.6 BTC mined daily on average in February, equivalent to about 455,800 per day, and totaling approximately 12.8 million for the month based on BTC price of 43,000 on February 28th. 283 BTC from mining deposited into custody in February. So it looks like you used up, 15 BTC for operations. And then they currently have 4,883 BTC in custody on February 28th, representing a total value of approximately 210 million based on BTC price of 43,000. So mining operations, here's where we get into the details. So 7,400 new Bitcoin miners capable of 740 petahash have been received in February or are in transit. So don't know exactly how many they received, but we know that the total amount is to be received is 7,400. The Chinese New Year, which ran from January 31st through February 15, 2022, slowed miner production and deliveries. Thus, most of the February shipments occurred in the latter half of the month. So that's why those didn't get installed, I'm guessing. Currently finalizing the first 12 megawatt capacity at Bunker site in Sherbrooke, which will immediately make operational over 3,000 new miners and add over 300 petahash to Bitfarms online hash rate. So they're finalizing that to actually get the new miners installed. Near completion of the first 16 megawatts capacity at the Ledger site in Sherbrooke, which is scheduled to be online in a few weeks. When operational, Ledger will immediately utilize over 4,000 new miners and add more than 400 petahash to Bitfarms online hash rate. So you got 4,000 at Ledger and then 300 petahash at the Bunker. So that gets them closer to the, or you got 4,000 and 3,000 miners, and they're going to have 400 miners to place someplace. 2,000 used Bitcoin miners moved or are in transit to the company's Paraguay farm, where they are being efficiently redeployed to add an additional 100 petahash. So that's happening as well. So that's good news. Those might be, let me see here, 2,000, and they're getting only 100. So those are like the 50 terahash miners, I believe. So those would be the 50 terahash miners, roughly right around there. Let's see here. So Bitfarms BTC 2022 monthly production for January, they had 301 mined. For February, 298. We also had a little bit of a shorter month in February. That could be the reason why. And obviously, they didn't install any miners, so that's the reason why as well. So let's take a look at the numbers that I have for them here. So Bitfarms right now, I got them at 2.33 exahash mining right now. So basically, January we had was pretty much flat. February was also flat. We had them mining in January 26 days. They did say that I believe that they had shut down sometime as well. We did get some miners installed here towards the end of it, so we put those in for 20 days and 17 days here. So that's where we're getting the numbers for them. So right now we got January at about 11.4 million, February 12.4 million, and I think they reported, what did they report here? Making, where was it? I think it was 12.8 million for the month based on BTC price of 43,000. We have the price of BTC at 43,192, and I have them at 12.4. So we're really close to what they're reporting here on that. So we're looking to possibly be, if they get up to the 7,000 miners installed, we're looking at possibly, well, I'm not going to put it in there yet because we don't know what's going to be coming in March. So once we know the numbers for March, we'll get those put in and updated, and we'll see what that will obviously change for their quarter revenue here. For right now, I got them at basically 37.6 million if nothing else changes. If we look at the price of the stock right now, the stock is at 403. Based on current market cap, everything shares outstanding, I'm looking they should be closer to, they're way undervalued. I think they should be closer to 975 right now. Using the price to earnings multiple of 20, we could probably take this down a little bit and bring it down to maybe even, let's change this up a little bit. So I'll make this 10 as the minimum, increment by 2, and we'll call it a day on that. All right, so here we go. So let's take this down a little bit to 10. So if we're looking at a 10 price to earnings multiple, we're pretty close to what they should be at. But obviously, if we see Bitcoin going up, we could easily see the price to earnings multiple go up higher. That's why I use the 20 usually, and I see them at 975 is where I think they should be closer to that. But obviously, with Bitcoin being in the dumps lately and just now starting to come out of it, we're seeing the prices of the stock prices going up on these miners when Bitcoin goes up as well. So we'll keep an eye on it, see how it goes. Excuse me. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got for him. BTC HODL is obviously 4,883. BTC value is 210 million. So HODL market cap is 20, basically 21% of their market cap is their HODL position in Bitcoin. That's why I keep saying that they're undervalued based on this. There should be a higher priced multiple, but some investors don't understand that. And we do have obviously 298 Bitcoins mined for February. January was 301, so it's a decrease of 3 and a 1% drop. We've obviously seen 2 continuous months in drops. So this is not a good sign. Obviously, the drop here was a little bit better than it was in January, but we obviously need to get more miners getting installed. Miners being installed gives us that hedge against network hash rate increases, and obviously the price of Bitcoin going down or something like that. More miners you get installed, the more you actually make. Makes sense, right? All right. Finally, our last story is Marathon. So Marathon, let's see here. There we go. So here's the quarterly results for Marathon for fiscal year 2021 financial highlights. So Q4 2021 revenue increased 2,180% year over year to 60.3 million from 2.6 million in Q4 of 2020, which is a really nice increase. They've done a pretty fantastic job. Fiscal year 2021 revenue increased 3,353% year over year to 150.5 million from 4.4 million in fiscal year 2020. Obviously, we've seen a great appreciation in the price of Bitcoin, which is obviously helping them, but they've also greatly increased their hash rate. So that's also helped them out tremendously. They did produce 1,098 self-Bitcoin mined during Q4 2021, an increase of 599% from Q4 2020. They did produce 3,197 Bitcoins in fiscal year 2021, an 846% increase year over year, which is also huge. Marathon's investment fund, which purchased 4,813 BTC for approximately 150 million in January of 2021, increased in fair value by 73.8 million during the fiscal year 2021. Non-GAAP income from operations was 118.7 million from the fiscal year 2021, which was also a huge increase. And non-GAAP net income was 168.7 million, or $1.70 per diluted share for fiscal year 2021, which is a huge increase as well. As of December 31st, 21, cash and cash equivalents was 268.5 million, and total liquidity defined as cash and Bitcoin holdings was approximately 615.5 million. They did obtain a 100 million revolving line of credit secured by Bitcoin and USD with Silvergate Bank, and successfully raised 747.5 million in a convertible note offering, in which the notes are unsecured and the coupon rate is 1%. So that's all fine and dandy. Let me see here. So a little bit of update here on the holdings. So as of February 28th, 2022, held approximately 8,956 Bitcoin, of which 4,813 are held in an investment fund, of one, while the other 4,143 were generated by the company's operations unaudited. We do know that they obviously purchased a lot of the Antminers XPs, the 140 terahash miners, and they do want to get to 23.3 exahash by early 2023. So that's all fine and dandy. All right, so let's scroll down here to the important part. So here we go. Total assets, 1.4 billion basically in assets. Stock, we'll take a look at let's take a look at it right now. So Marathon currently has a market cap of 2.6. So it is, I think, it might be a little bit undervalued right now, but not by much. And then total liabilities is only 765 million compared to 1.1 million 5. So a huge increase, obviously, but they are obviously growing tremendously. So that's to be expected. The most important part for me was obviously the revenues. I wanted to see how close I could get to kind of estimating what they would be making. So cryptocurrency mining revenue was 60.281 million. Obviously a huge increase from 2020, and that's what we want to see. We want to see a continued increase in that. Cost of revenue was about 14 million, so approximately 25%, 24 or so percent, 23% of their revenue was cost of revenue. So that's probably, I'm guessing, things like electricity and whatever else that they put into it, but that's kind of what I'm guessing on that. So not too bad. Total operating expenses was 38.6 million. Big one here was obviously compensation and related taxes. They didn't actually provide what that was. 10.6 million on that. Income loss from operations. So they actually had a profit of 21.6 million and net income loss per share, or net income or loss, but they actually had a gain of 11 cents per share compared to a negative 10 cents per share last year. And we do know that their shares outstanding basic is 102,620,749, and that actually matches up nicely with what I have for them in my sheet as well. And I think that was it. So overall, great quarter, great year for Marathon. They obviously are getting the love of investors, because investors obviously are, investing in them quite nicely, and we can see that here because the stock price right now is at 26.08. I have them at basically 28.84 with a price to earnings multiple of 20 on here, so they're really close to my numbers here that I have for them. So let's take a look at how close I was with my numbers. So here's the number that I had for them. I had 59.2 million roughly for the fourth quarter of 2021. They reported 60.281. I was off by 1 million or 1.73%, and that's kind of my goal, to be, within 1%. With the old numbers, I wanted to be in within at least 5% of that because they weren't as accurate, I think, as going forward. And I've talked about this in the past. I think the old numbers were based on quarterly numbers, which were not taking into account for Bitcoin price from month to month. It was on quarterly numbers, so that was obviously weighing things off a little bit. So going forward, we'll take a look at it here. For any newcomers, I use a very detailed history report here on Bitcoin from January to December for the 22 year. And we're looking at the start hash rate, end hash rate. We're getting an average hash rate and BTC price at the end of each month. So this will give us obviously a lot better data as far as when we're calculating how much they can be actually making, because we can put in the miners that were received or installed during each month, as long as they provide the updates for productions for each month. I'll be able to do this. If they don't, we'll have to rely on quarterly results. But I'm thinking right now, they're looking like they're going to be making about 18.7 million in January, and I'm at 19.1 million in February. And we'll have to obviously see if they installed any miners in February and how many. That will obviously have an impact on how much they're making here, which will also have an impact on March, and then we'll get a much better number as far as what they could be making here. But I wouldn't be surprised if they reach 70, maybe 75 million, depending on how many miners they get installed here and when. So right now, it's still a little bit undervalued based on my opinion, but not by much. Obviously, if they get more miners installed, that'll obviously change. And I'm using the last 3 quarters, so these would be the easy numbers here, along with the current quarter numbers here, which are here. So that's how I'm getting my combined totals basically for the 4 quarters, and then trying to figure out what the price of the stock should be on that. Okay, and these are all estimates. Obviously, do your own research as always, but it does kind of paint a little bit better picture as far as accuracy, I think, going forward. What else can I share with you? I think that's it. Otherwise, nothing else is going on. We'll see how Bitcoin does. We'll see how Ethereum does. Obviously, Bitfarms is kind of flatlined a little bit right now. We'll see what, we're in March now. We'll see what March brings for them as far as being able to install more miners. We want to see that. And then we want to see, obviously, the other miners report as well. So we'll see what Marathon did in February, which will obviously might have a pretty big impact as far as what they're making on it. So great numbers by Marathon for Q4. Not so great numbers by Bitfarms. We'd love to see a little bit better number of miners getting installed, or at least not a big shock like we may see in March. Okay, so that's it. Let me know what you guys thought of this. As always, the spreadsheet is going to be available to my Patreon members. Link is down in the description. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe. It helps me out tremendously, and that's all I ask for. I love talking to you guys in the comments, so leave a comment down below. And that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, have a great night, and bye.